Okay, what's up guys? My name is Micah and this is going to be the second video in the 2D game programming series for iPhone. Before we had just created a blank template, so now we're actually going to get started setting up the iPhone to play our game. So, the first thing we need to do is we need to switch the vertical orientation of the iPhone to a horizontal orientation. So to do that, we are going to click on the Hop Hero project right up here in the sidebar. Click on the General tab, the Hop Hero target, and right under here, under Device Orientation, we're going to unclick Portrait. So what the device orientation options are is it's what what orientations are allowed for your project on the iPhone. So if I were to turn that portrait sideways and landscape right was enabled, it would actually turn the screen sideways. So we don't need the portrait mode, so we're just going to uncheck that. If we rerun it, it's going to run in landscape mode. And so this is all great and everything. It looks great, except there's actually one more thing we need to do. As it stands now, the X and Y coordinate system is switched. So it's still maintaining that X and Y coordinate system for the vertical orientation. So for example, if I were to want to place a block at, say, 50, 100 as a position, this being the anchor point, it would actually put the block right here at 150. So to switch that, we need to go into the view controller. Now this is where we initialized the scene and presented the scene to the view. So where the scene is initialized, you can say it's my scene, scene with size, skview.bounds.size. Now this part right here, the skview.bounds.size, is the is the class for the vertical orientation. So is maintaining that vertical orientation. So this is what we have to change. So instead of that, we're going to do CG size make, and this CG size make method is a core graphics method. That's another framework for iOS. You can see that with the CG for core graphics. What this does is it returns a CG size, and that's what all of the size properties in Sprite Kit are CG sizes. And all that is a class containing a width and a height. So you can see there's a width and a height as we initialize this. What we want to do is put the height of the SKView for the width and the width of the SKView for the height. And this should switch your coordinate system up. So to get the height of the SKView right here, we're going to do skview.frame.size.height. And to get the width, we're going to do skview.frame.size.width. So now we should be good to go. The coordinate system should be on track and everything should be correct. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the anchor point of the scene to the middle of the scene. And now what the anchor point is it's the reference point for everything that you add to the scene. So say I wanted to add an object at 0, 0. As it stands now, it will add it at the bottom left of the screen because the anchor point is in the bottom left. Hey buddy, my dog's just like walking up to me. But to set the anchor point, we're going to do self.anchorPoint equals CG point make. So this is another core graphics method. It's the point equivalent of the CG size make method. What a point is a CG point. It's just a class that contains an X coordinate and a Y coordinate. So we're going to make this 0.5, 0.5. And anchor points, the X and Y coordinates are always between 0 and 1.0. 1.0 being the top or far right, and 0 being the left or bottom. So the reason we're setting this anchor point, I will actually explain in a later tutorial. It's going to help us a lot with centering the camera on our hero. But it's good to start out with this just because we're going to be centering all our elements using it. So now that we have the anchor point set, we're going to create our first node actually in the scene. And the node tree is something that is actually huge for Sprite Kit. And so I'll give a basic explanation of what it is, but you're going to use it so much that you're going to understand it regardless of how good or bad I explain it right now. basically everything in Sprite Kit is a node. And you can have nodes within nodes, and that's how kind of Sprite Kit renders everything. So even the scene is considered a node, and a node has a position, sometimes it has a size, and there are a lot of things you can do with nodes. So what we're going to create is an SK Sprite node. This gives us the capability of just making a square block of a certain color, and that's why I'm using it, because we want the ground just to be a rectangle. That's all we really need. So I'm setting up the ground here. We're going to do a SK Sprite node with color, size. This is a factory method for the SK Sprite node class, and this just creates a rectangle of a certain color. Now this Sprite node with color wants a UI color class to be inserted right here. So we're going to do UI color green color. With Objective-C, you're going to get used to this. Pretty much everything is classed to the max to be really specific, so sometimes it seems like it's being a little repetitive and verbose, but I've actually come to like it just because you know exactly what you're getting when you're using all these classes. So you have UI color, we're going to make it green color. For the size, we're going to do another CG size make method. And we're going to just make it self.frame.size.width. What this gets is just the width of our scene. And the height, let's say we're just going to make it 100. Oh, and we need to complete the bracket there. So right here, we're going to add the ground to the scene. Again, back to the node tree, you can add, all nodes have child nodes and parent nodes. Except for the scene. The scene is like the root node. So to add a node to another node, you use this add child method. So now if we run this, we should have a green bar that goes across the screen like that. So that's going to be it for this tutorial. We'll actually start, we'll position this element in the next one, as well as create a basic hero as well, and maybe get to some physics. We'll see if we can do that in the next one.